Hello, welcome back to Sorare Assist. Adam here. Today I'm going to be sharing my top 5 tips for Sorare MLB after playing this game since it was launched on Sorare a few months ago. If you do like this video, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. If you're not signed up to Sorare yet, sign up using the link below to get a free limited card and 13 common cards. Okay guys, let's get stuck into today's content. So as I say, I'm going to be sharing the top 5 tips that I've found that is going to help you guys perform better on Sorare MLB. This is because I've been researching this and obviously been playing the platform since Sorare MLB launched a few months ago. So let's get straight stuck in and start with tip number 1. So the first one is to make sure you do check the starting lineups of your players. If you don't have a did not play, a bit like on the football version, it's pretty much going to destroy your chances of picking up any rewards. So it's very important that you do check all the fixtures coming up. Obviously there's more than one in Sorare MLB in each game week, to make sure that all your players are potentially going to be starting. There's a number of resources to do that. You can use fantasydata.com, where you can look at upcoming fixtures, fixtures today, and also fixtures in the future as well, and they will have probable starting lineups already projected on there for your perusal. You can also look at fangraphs.com as well. This is going to give you even more information on starting lineups, that sort of thing. The other thing as well is you want to check is the probable pitcher. So as you can see, we've got some probable pitchers here. So this is going to tell you who's going to be the pitcher. That's obviously very important. So you can also check this as well on fantasypros.com, and this is going to give you also some probable pitchers for the upcoming games. As you can see, it's got all the games in a row here. This is going to tell you if your pitcher is going to be starting in a particular game week. This is very important because you do need all your players to play, including your pitcher of course, to make sure that you can optimise your chances of winning those prizes. Tip number 2, and that is to use a pitcher in the flex slot if there's only around 3 games in the upcoming game week for your players. Now generally I'd put a batter in the flex slot, so that's not a pitcher, because they can generally score more points because obviously they're going to play 3, 4, 5 games during a particular game week, whereas the pitcher will only probably get 1 chance in the game week to get some decent scores. But if there is only around 3 games, then a pitcher is probably still the best option in the flex position. This is because a pitcher, because it can score 20, 30, 40 points in a particular game week, whereas batters generally score a lot lower than pitchers, and even with 4 games they can still only score 20, 30 points. But with a pitcher you're more likely going to beat that score if the batter has only got 3 games. So sometimes it is advisable to use a pitcher, especially if you've got some fantastic pitchers in your team like Burns or Verlander, then it is a good idea to use a pitcher in your flex slot when there is a reduced amount of games in the upcoming game week, instead of using a batter, because this is more than likely going to be a bit more way to secure some higher points. So that is my tip number 2. Use a pitcher in the flex slot if there is only 3 or below games in the upcoming game week for your batters. Tip number 3. Try and buy some starting pitchers / relief pitchers. Now there is some players on the platform that can play as a starting pitcher and relief pitcher. This is absolutely fantastic. As you know, there's also relief pitchers just by themselves. You do need a relief pitcher to fit into your team, of course, in your Sorare MLB SO7. So you do need a relief pitcher in your side. Now the advantage of using one of the cards that also is a relief pitcher and a starting pitcher is very beneficial. Because as you can see here, Austin Roth in the upcoming game week is going to be a probable pitcher in the upcoming game week. So I know that he's definitely going to start this game, so that I can put this card in the relief pitcher slot, as you can see here. Now this is absolutely fantastic because he's guaranteed to start this one, whereas if you just had a relief pitcher, you don't always know when they're actually going to get some game time. It's not always that easy to predict. But if you've got a player that's also a relief pitcher and a starting pitcher, that means he is eligible for the relief pitcher slot, and if he's going to be the probable pitcher, that means you're going to get those guaranteed points for the relief pitcher position in your team. So this is an absolutely essential player to get some of these SPs and RPs together. There's only probably about, I think there's only about 5 or 6 players that are eligible for this, but these are very, very beneficial because you're going to be getting those guaranteed points when they do play as a starting pitcher. But because they are also relief pitchers, you can use them in the relief pitcher slot. This is really going to get you those extra points, especially if they have a good pitching day. They're going to get some fantastic points for you in the relief pitcher position, and this is going to be potentially the difference between picking up prizes or coming away empty-handed. So this is a very good tip. Tip number 4, have a decent selection of pitchers. Now, as we know, the pitchers don't always start every single game. They usually have a space of about 3 to 4 games where they do have a break from pitching and someone else steps in the void to pitch for the team. So it's very important that you do have a decent amount of pitchers, some quality pitchers as well, so that you can obviously pick players that are going to be pitching that game week, and also pick a player that has a decent fixture as well. As you can see at the upcoming game week, I'm very lucky. I've actually got quite a lot of pitchers to choose from. This is something that I do recommend, is that you do have a good amount of pitchers to pick from, because as I say, they don't start every game. So you do want to make sure that you've got a nice selection there, because the pitcher slot is quite an important slot. They're probably going to get you some decent points as well. So it is good to have a good selection. So tip number 5 then, and the final tip in these top 5 MLB tips, is to stack 2 or 3 players from the same team. Now when I say this, I mean stacking some batters from the same team. Doesn't have to be the pitcher can be from any team really, as long as he's got a good matchup. But you want to be putting the batters, you want 2 or 3 players from the same team. I wouldn't go any higher than this really, because any higher than 3 from the same team is not the optimal strategy in my opinion, from what I've learned from playing the MLB Sorare. This is because if you have a team of say all Dodgers, the likelihood is that they're not all going to have a storming game or a series of games. That's probably very unlikely. There's probably going to be 2 or 3 standout performers in the game week that are going to get you those big points. So what I would suggest is get 3 or 2 players from the same team as a stack. So in that strategy, what you could essentially do is, like I've got here, I've got 3 batters from the Dodgers, and then in these 2 extra slots I could put 2 players from the Braves. So I could put in Austin Riley and Dansby Swanson. So as you can see, this is the optimal strategy in my opinion. Now remember, this is just the batters, so the relief pitcher and the starting pitcher can be from any team, as long as they've got a good fixture of course. But the rest of the batters, I would say to have a 3 and 2 man stack. So as you can see here, I've got 3 Dodgers and I've got 2 Braves. I think this is the optimal strategy. Now I was saying earlier about using the flex slot as a pitcher. That's if there's 3 or less games. Now, obviously in that strategy you can still go with the 2-man stack. So you could take one of the Dodgers players out and then use the flex slot as a pitcher. So you can still use that strategy as well. As I say, 2 to 3 man stack, so 3 at the most from the same team is probably the optimal strategy in terms of stacking your teams on Sorare MLB. So that was the top 5 tips, what I've learned from playing Sorare MLB so far. If I do find out any more about this or any more tips, I will obviously share them with you guys right on this channel. So make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. If you're not signed up to Sorare yet, sign up using the link below where you'll get a free star common card, so potentially Judge, and also some common cards as well, so you can enter the Sorare MLB tournament straight away. Okay guys, thanks for watching as always. Check out my website sorareassist.com and I will see you again on the next video.